Okay, literally just played the game, so should be pretty fresh. But basically, just finished playing Penguin, one of the new coaches. I guess he was one of the older coaches as well. And spoilers, this, if you ask me, should have been such a favorable matchup for me. Like, my team just played so well into his, like, even down to the Terra types. So I was very confident coming in, and I didn't even know what tech he could have had to even make it close. But props to him. He definitely did. A little closer than I would have liked. So here's the team I brought. But just looking at matchups, Terra Ghost Como goes crazy. At +2, it guaranteed 2 shots, Mega Aggron, max the death with the nature, with Ghost Terra Blast. Everything else gets one-shotted, except Dnite because of multi-scale, and like he can Terra normal if I Ghost, yada yada yada. So, matchup-wise, I think it's heavily in my favor. But here are all my sets. Basically my thought process across the board. As you can see, no attack investment on the edge, only 12 on Scizor. And then obviously Lando, I did modest 192 speed to outspeed max speed Dragonite with like positive nature. Because I already don't outspeed Flutter or Iron Moth, and I expected booster Iron Moth. So I just wanted a lot of damage, and then Como, same reasoning. With the 24 attack is because I assumed that Ursaluna with AV Bulletproof was coming, because it's immune to Focus Blast and Aura Sphere. So I actually didn't have a way to really touch this thing. So what I did was I slapped on Drain Punch, gave it 24 attack AVs, so that if he's not invested in defense, it guaranteed 2 hit KOs, also gets some healing. So it was very beneficial. Everything else, bulky Cerulege with Swords Dance, bulky Scizor with Swords Dance Roost, because like these are the only attacks that I needed on it. Same for this, Bitter Blade plus Poltergeist pretty much did 70 to anything that came in on an SD. And then Shadow Sneak picks off things like Flutter. But anyway, we can get into the replays. On my side. So, game 1, after I saw his team, I'm very surprised that Gallade came. Everything else I kind of like figured / prepped for. So when I saw the Aggron, looking at his team, I figured that was his lead. So I led Lando just to get pressure. Leads worked out in my favor. I'm like, the obvious play is for him to swap in a Dragonite to immune the Earth Power, but I thought, don't over-predict game 1. If he gets greedy and goes for Rocks, that's 80% to Mega Aggron. Actually, since he's not Spadef invested, it might just straight up kill. But he makes the play, goes into Dnite, and here's where I figure out what this demon is. So Chonker here is a bulky stall Dragonite. I swap into Dozo, who is my Dragonite wall. This thing cannot touch Dozo, except for the set that he has. Fire Spin, which once I saw Fire Spin, I was like, okay, he is some trap set. I don't really have a way to deal with this very well. Terra Normals, which good play on his part. So I curse up. I'm getting chipped by Fire Spin. I saw the Toxic. I do believe I stayed in instead of going Scizor. I could have went Scizor and started threatening, setting up, because I do have CC. But I didn't really want to take a Fire Spin, at least not behind Veil, or not without being behind Veil. So he gets the toxic, and then here we just, I'm like, okay, chip, the protect. I mean, he hadn't shown it. Obviously, so I think that's gonna have it though. Only move he hasn't shown is the roost. So he misses a fire spin. Sorry about it. Doesn't necessarily matter all that much. I do get a good chunk off with liquidation. I'm at 26. I don't predict the roost / protect. My break is multi-scale. I'm on 7. So here I swap on the protect. So I SD up because he's going to toxic. Okay. So now at +2, I can just click Bitter Blade on pretty much anything. He is a Fizz-Def Tapu. I believe I get a lucky crit here. I get to +4. Yeah. So crit did 60. So this, I believe this crit actually did not benefit me. I still have my sets, but +2. Attack with Finny. I wish he had linked me as Poke Pace so I could see what exactly he was. Oh, so he's like 216. Oh, I was at +4, right? Yeah, so I guaranteed kill with Poltergeist as long as he's holding an item after 1 Bitter Blade. But I unfortunately crit and activated his Citrus Berry. So now he has no item, and we're not going to talk about this play. I Poltergeisted the Mon with no item. Yep. And then here I just Bitter Blade, get more chip. I crit again. That crit is definitely more impactful because that would have done like 40. He would have been at 30, which would have been enough to live an unboosted BP. I believe it would have been close, but that one definitely mattered more than the first one. The first one actually did not benefit me at all because Poltergeist would have guaranteed killed. Second one definitely did. He defogs, gets rid of my boost. It's fine. So out comes Ninetales. Out comes Aggron. I Blizzard, honestly, fishing for a freeze because I knew Aggron was coming out. I didn't want to hard swap Lando in case he was trying to sack this and surfed, so didn't really want to risk that. I get my Veil up, he rocks. I try to encore him into rocks, really good swap on his part. I Blizzard, fishing for another freeze, because I knew he was going to fire spin. I have no immunity anymore. Okay, I encore him into fire spin. He continues to click it. I Blizzard again. Yep, fire spin again. Freeze dry and get the freeze. So, funny enough, Blizzard with 30% chance, none, and then freeze dry with, I believe, 10 gets it. And that matters a ton. Freezing this thing is huge. It can't roost, it can't toxic, it can't anything for, I mean, it could thaw out at any point, but odds are in my favor that I get at least 1 turn. So, with Veil up for 3 turns, I take that opportunity. Well, I'm locked into Fire Spin. I get 1 turn freeze, which is nearly guaranteed. I swap into Como, and I basically go for game here. He swaps into Aggron. I Terra, Climb Soul. Okay, so here, I didn't know what his Aggron set was. I still expected Spadef, but he's actually max defense Aggron. So I take 23, doesn't matter. Drain Punch only does 24, so I'm like, oh, okay, well. Terra Blast. Okay, there's Flutter. I got worried that this was Scarf Flutter, because it would have, I think the most it did was 29. Like, he needed a max roll to kill me, but he could have if he was Scarf. Didn't know it at the time, but he's AV Flutter. Apparently he also lived this without the crit, which is crazy. I know Flutter's got that split def on lock, but Jesus. That is a stab. I don't know. See, this is the problem. I don't know if he was also invested in split def. Just +2. Okay, I mean the odds, if he's not invested, the odds are in his favor to not get Oko, but it can still Oko. So I'm gonna assume he was invested. So sorry about the crit and the freeze. Game 1 was rough for sure. I drain punch, get a bunch of HP back. Pretty much seals the game. Yeah, he forfeits. On to game 2. We both do the same leads, funny enough, because he really wants those rocks up. I make the same play. Out comes Dozo. We're going through the whole toxic thing again. Okay, so the fire spin wears off, so I predict another one. He actually goes for the protect. So I SD. He toxics. I believe I SD again. Or I should SD you. Yep. And now I get to spam just Bitter Blade. Another crit again. So again, this crit does not benefit me. If I don't crit him, it does not activate Citrus. Poltergeist does 91 minimum. So I guaranteed kill with Poltergeist if I don't activate his Citrus. So both of those crits have actually made this much harder for me. Because now I only have... Did I click the same game? I did click the same game. We're not going to talk about that. Oh no. Plaz put game 2 is game 1. Uh-oh. Well, that sucks. Alright, well, unfortunately, I can't show game 2 because we grabbed the wrong replay. So, game 2 he won. He was able to successfully stall me out with the Dnite. So, we're going to a game 3 situation. We both essentially know all of our sets. There's nothing really that can surprise us. He leads Moth into my Como. So, I know that he can't really Oko me with anything. I kind of resist everything if I don't Terra. But I got worried about D-Gleam, so I have to Terra. But I go for game here. I'm like, I really want to try to get as many kills as possible to not let him stall me out. U-turn, very good on the Moth. I like it a lot. So out comes Feeny. I do 61 with the Boom Burst. Citrus pops. There go my stats. Como had a rough one. So I predicted the Flutter to come out or the Dnite. One of the two. But he was willing to sack this thing. So he's willing to sack this. I predict the aggron there. I should just SD. Like, now comes aggron. By now I know he has no way to touch Lando. He hasn't revealed like Ice Punch. He has Fire Punch. Yep, so Stealth Rack. Flutter comes in. That's AV Flutter taking 50% from Earth Power. Lando is him. Yeah, so out comes the Bozo. I could have stayed in, and I did think about it because I do live a Moonblast, even if he specs. But with Rocks up, I really want to keep this thing healthy because it guaranteed beats Aggron and Iron Moth. Like, both of those it can handle. So I just need to play to get through Dragonite, and we're chilling. So I need all the health on it. Dozo does nothing because he gets stalled out by this Dragonite. Out comes Gleed. Don't know why I Avalanche instead of the conditioning there. I guess to try to catch the Dragonite coming in, which makes sense. So here we're both just trading garbage, you know? Out comes Flutter, I have to let this thing die. He reveals the Hex, which I knew he would have because Shadow Ball doesn't work on him. So, because I'm bulky Ninetales, I live any one hit. Yep, Mystical Fire does 40. I get my Veil up and I'm in a great position. I Blizzard, predicting a swap. No freeze, quite effective. Bulky ass mon. Okay, so the game isn't going to show, but this turn right here took me forever to decide what to do, because he was either going to Fire Spin or Toxic. If he Fire Spins, I go to Cerulege for free. If he Toxics, I get to go to Scissor for free. But whenever I was calcing, sorry about that. Whenever I was calcing, my Scissor behind Veil does not take a ton from, I mean, it's Fire Spin, so it makes sense, and it's not invested. But like, just throw Fire Spin on. Like, even without Veil, I take 23 to 28 and then chip. Behind Veil, I'm only taking 11 to 14. So, I'm like, okay, even if he Fire Spins, it's not ideal, but it's not, like, I'm fine. So, I go Scissor, take my rocks damage, he Toxics, so I get a free swap in. Now, I get to set up in this thing, because by now, I know all four of its moves. Fire Spin is its only way to touch Scissor, and because I'm bulky Scissor, I take nothing from it. So I just sit here and Swords Dance Roost alternate until I can just sweep his team. Yep, there's the Roost. Take the chip. SDO. He Roosts. I Roost. He misses a Fire Spin, I'm sorry. I BP to break multi-scale. Okay, he does 56. Alright, I'm at 44. I predict that he is going to either go for a Roost here or another Fire Spin. Likely another Fire Spin. So I have close combat. I don't think he's ever swapping in Flutter. And even if he does, it dies to Bullet Punch. Yep, so he Roost. I Roost. Fire Spin ends. Gets another one. At close combat, do 89. Defense drops don't matter, I am bullet punching everything. So out comes Flutter, bullet punch. Out comes Moth. Now, I did calc this, and even though Moth has no defenses, it does live a +4 bullet punch, which is crazy. But, Scizor did its job. It essentially broke through Dragonite. Is going to hit this for like 75, and then Lando handles this. So boom, get my big chip, die to Flamethrower. Here I go Cerulege. This thing has no way to touch Cerulege that it has revealed. So I SD, and then he, I believe, had not revealed all, he hadn't revealed all of his Aggron moves. He had revealed Stealth Rock, Iron Head, and Fire Punch in game 2. But, I was like, okay, I do live one Earthquake, and then I will heal a ton with Bitter Blade. So I'm going to go for a second. I'm going to go for, oh, never mind. I just played this game, I should remember this. So, I Bitter Blade, heal up a ton, he Iron Heads me. It's resisted, does nothing. That's when I realized he doesn't have Earthquake. He can't touch Cerulege, so I just SD again. He can't touch me. And then Bitter Blade plus Shadow Sneak's gonna finish everything. Yeah, Bitter Blade, it turned out to be important here. I mean, he still dies if he Roost, I'm pretty sure. He's bulky though. But my EV spread on Cerulege, 216 speed, Jolly Nature outspeeds max speed Dragonite, Jolly Nature, which he wasn't, but it could have mattered there. So I get my Bitter Blade off, kill that, and then Shadow Sneak's gonna finish Iron Moth. So Cerulege put in work. Maharaga, amazing name for it in my opinion. Dude, GG's to Penguin. Him and Tanner cooked up an absolutely diabolical game plan for me. Like, I cannot give them enough credit for that prep, because by all means, this matchup should be like 80-20 my favor. So the fact that they were able to find a set/strategy that made it this close is crazy. Well played to Penguin too. I think he played really well. I can't even really think of any mistakes that he made, other than the one in game 1 that him and Tanner talked about where he stayed in while frozen. But other than that, like, I thought he played really well. Maybe swapping the lead for something, and maybe like a different item one, like Booster Moth, but he really played well. So yeah, hats off to him. GG's, man. And that'll be it. Happy to get a win week 1.